Om Sadashiva Samarambham
Sadashiva-Samarambham
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Shankaracharya-Madhyamam
Madhacharya Paryantam Vande
Vande
Guru
Guru
Paramparam
Paramparam
Om Sahana Bhavatu
Sahana
Sahanau
Bhavatu Sahanau
Bhunaktu
Bhunaktu
Sahaviryam
Sahaviryam
Karvavahai
Karvavahai
Tejasvinavadhitamastu
Tejasvinavadhitamastu
Mavidvishavahai
Mavidvishavahai. Om
Om Shanti Shanti
Shanti
Shanti.
Shanti, Shanti.
So we will continue from where we left off. So we are now on the 20th mantra. We will chant Anoraniyan hame vatadvad
Anoraniyan
Anoraniyam
hamev
hamev
tatvat
tadvad
mahanaham vishwamaham vichitram
mahanaham
Mahanaham
vishvam aham
Vishwamaham
vichitram
Vichitram
puratano aham purusho hamishah
Puratano
puratano aham purusho
Purushohamishaha
hamishaha
Hiranyamayoham Shivarupamasmi.
Hiranmayoham
hiranyamayoham
Shivarupamasmi.
shivaroopamasmi.
So in the last mantra, we saw that what am I? Tad Advaya Brahma Ahamasmi. I am that non-dual Brahman. Which non-dual Brahman? From whom the entire Srishti arises, from into whom the entire Srishti resolves, and by whom this entire creation is sustained. That was the meaning of the last mantra. Here we are going along in the same manner. We are trying to get some more descriptions of that Brahman, who I am. So we must consistently remember that we are not talking about a Brahman. We are talking about who I am. Aham. That's why everywhere there is aham. I am. So he says aham aniyan anoho. So if you look at the words, anoraniyan aham eva. Aham aniyan anoho. Anoho is subtle. Aniyan is smaller than or subtler than. So aham aniyan anoho. I am subtler than the subtle ones. Tadvat. And also in the same manner, equally, aham mahan eva. I am big also. So I am subtler than the subtlest and I am bigger than the biggest. Also, aham vichitram vishwam. I am this manifold, multiple. Vichitram is manifold or multiple. Vishwam is the universe. I am the manifold, multiple universe also. And aham puratanaha. I am the most ancient one. I'll just mute. Somebody has put it on, so I'll just mute you all. Aham puratanaha. I am the ancient one. Aham purushaha. I am the purushaha. So we have discussed before the meaning of purushaha. Purayati iti purushaha. That which is pervading everything, that is the purushaha. Therefore, aham purushaha here means I am the all-pervading one. Then, so that word has to be correctly, the second line has to be correctly broken up. Aham puratanaha, aham purushaha, aham ishaha. So that purusho hami ishaha is aham ishaha. The aham of the first word puratanaha has to be read twice. So aham puratanaha and aham purushaha. And now aham ishaha. I am the ishaha. I am the ruler of the entire creation. And aham hiranyamayaha. I am the effulgent one. I am the all-shining one. Shiva Rupam, you have to supply here, aham asmi or Shiva Rupam asmi. I am the auspicious one. I am in the very nature of auspiciousness itself. So this is a corollary from the previous verse. We are talking about the cause of the creation, the Karana Paramatma, the creator Paramatma. Where is the Karanam located? So here he says he is all pervasive. Aham Purushaha. So this Karanam is not located in a place. This cause is not located in a particular place, but is located in and throughout all the products. So it is the karanam alone, the cause alone, which appears in the form of every product. Just like it is the gold alone, which appears in the form of the bangle, the necklace, the ring, everything is gold alone. And therefore it is the karanam alone which appears in the form of every karyam. So ekam karanam eva, the same karanam itself, aneka karya rupena bhati, is seen in multiple products. So in the previous verse we said, I am the karanam, mayeva sakalam jatam. Everything is born from me alone. And therefore I am the karanam alone, which is now appearing as the multiple universe, the multiple products. I am in the form of everything. So, anoraniyan ahameva, anoho aniyan. I am subtler than the subtlest. I am in the form of the smallest product. And normally we use, where it is conscious beings, we say it is the smallest blade of grass, or you can say it's a small little inert piece of stone also. Tadvat, in the same way, aham mahaneva, I am in the form of the biggest karyam also. The biggest galaxy you can see, I am that also. The entire universe you can see, I am that also. And we saw the same idea being expressed in Kathopanishad. If you remember, the first chapter, the second section, I think it's verse number 19 or 20 or something. It said, I am the smallest and I am the biggest in creation. The same idea is being expressed. And how to understand this, we had this discussion in Kathopanishad also, but it's an important discussion. So I'll simply repeat. The entire creation is nothing but Atma plus the name and form, which we call Anatma. So just as water appears as the smallest wave, as well as the biggest ocean. So the substance is water. The products are two, the smallest wave and the biggest ocean. But essentially, it is water only. That wave is also a karyam, a product. And we think the cause is the ocean. But Vedanta says there is neither the wave nor the ocean, there is only water. Everywhere there is only water. There is no wave, there is no ocean, there is only water. Similarly, there is no universe at all, neither the smallest product nor the biggest galaxy. Universe is not there at all. It is nothing but the Karanam only. It is nothing but Atma only. And therefore, I, Brahman, the Satchit Atma, I appear as the smallest atom and I also appear as the biggest galaxy. I am the Karyam as well as the Karanam. I appear as both. And in our context, in the discussion context, I am the Jivatma as well as the Paramatma. Once you remove the Upadis, the Nama Rupa, there is neither Jivatma nor is there Paramatma. I am only Ekatma, the one Atma alone I am. And this understanding that everything is my own appearance, that has got a technical name. It's called Sarvatma Bhavaha. You will come across that word several times. Sarvatma Bhavaha. Sarvam Atma iti Bhavaha. The understanding that everything is Atma. That is called Sarvatma Bhavaha. And we have to translate in the context of Nididhyasanam. You have to translate it saying that everything is my own appearance only. So Sarvam Atma. Literally speaking, we tend to think of Atma as something else, right? But the word Atma, it is not a random choice. Atma means I, me. And therefore, Sarvam Atma means everything is me alone. Iti Bhavaha. That understanding is called Sarvatma Bhavaha. In short, Aham Vishwam. I alone am in the form of the universe. And this universe is multiple universe, Vichitram Vishwam, the manifold universe. And that is why I do not have any desire. Because if everything is me alone, what is there to know? If there is something other than me, then I have a desire to know that or to possess that. But when I know that everything is me alone, Puratanam Aham, I have existed from all time, Aham Purushaha, I am the Karanam, I pervade everything. Purayati Sarvam, I pervade everything. I am there everywhere. There is nothing but me. And therefore, what desire could I possibly have? And therefore, Ahamishaha, I am the Lord of everything that I survey, which actually speaking means nothing because everything is I alone. So I am Swatantraha, I am independent. I am that Satyam which exists independently. I am Swatantraha. But what do I have? I have many dresses. I have many forms. I have many Nama Rupas. But without that form, without the name, I am Shuddha Chaitanya Rupaha. And therefore I am Hiranyamayaha, effulgent like gold. And I am Shiva Rupaha. I am Mangala Swarupam. So Shiva Rupam means Mangala Swarupam. Mangala Swarupam means Ananda Swarupam. So I am in the nature of Ananda itself. Why do we say that? Because whatever is Ananda is given by, or rather Ananda is given by whatever is auspicious. So whatever gives me Ananda, that is Mangalam. And therefore Shiva Rupa means Mangala Rupaha, means Ananda Rupaha. This nature of original happiness, the pure happiness is my original nature. And this is the Sarvatma Bhavaha. So Shiva Rupam Asmi means I am Ananda Swarupam Aham Asmi. I am that very nature of pure consciousness. So far we had discussed consciousness is what? Sat and Chit. Atma was Sat and Chit. And now Lord Brahmaji brings in the third part of it, Anandaha. So this Ananda is what? It is the pure Ananda principle. Occasionally when the mind is present, that Ananda is reflected in the mind, which you experience. So that reflection of Ananda in the mind is the experienced pleasure, which we call Pratibimba Ananda. And this is temporary or permanent, because for that experiential pleasure to appear, the mind has to be there. The mind goes away during Sushupti, and therefore when the reflecting mirror, which is the mind, is no longer there during Sushupti, that experienced pleasure also goes away. The reflection goes away. The mind therefore is constantly coming and going, and hence the experiential pleasures come and go. But I, the original Ananda, the Bimba Ananda, I don't come and I don't go. I am ever present. The question is, after studying Vedanta, what will happen to any of my problems? Will they go away? No. All the problems will continue to be there. But when your mind is saturated with the light of this knowledge, it is like the stars being there in the daytime, but you can't see them because the sunlight overwhelms them. Similarly, these problems will continue to be there, but the light of Atmajnanam, because of that bright light shining, you will no longer be bothered by those problems. Jnanis and Ajnanis, remember, have the same problems. Why? Because they share the same world. But with Nididhyasanam, the Jnani keeps the light of Atmajnanam burning in the mind all the time. And that is why Shravanam alone is not enough. You may know that you are Brahman, but that constant recall is necessary for us to experience the benefits of being Brahman. And this is called moksha. Moksha, in other words, is the falsification of the entire universe as mithya. Mithyatva nishchayam is moksha. Now we look at mantra number 21. Apanipadoham achintya shakti.
Apanipadohamachintya shaktihi.
Pashyama chakshusha shronamya karnaha.
Pashyami
Chakshusha shronomya karnaha.
karnaha.
Aham vijanami vivikta rupaha.
Aham
Aham
janami
vijanami
vivikta rupaha.
viviktarupaha.
Nachasti vetta mama chit sadaham.
Nachasti
Nachasti
vettam
vetta mama
chitsadaham.
chitsadaham.
So aham apani padaha. So you have to split that properly. Aham apani apadaha. I am without hands and without legs. Somebody is keeping the mic open. I would request you all to put it off because it will spoil the recording. Okay. Aham apani apadaha. I am without hands and legs. Aham achintya shaktihi. But in spite of having no organs, no hands and no legs, I have achintya shaktihi, incomprehensible powers, powers which cannot be imagined, achintyam. Achintyam means that which cannot even be imagined. And shaktihi is the powers, but I am endowed with incomprehensible powers. And pashyami chakshuhu, that has to be broken correctly. Pashyami achakshuhu. I see, but without my eyes. Then shrunomya karnaha has to be broken correctly. Shrunomi akarnaha. I hear, but without ears. Aham vijanami vivikta rupaha. Vivikta rupaha. I have a distinct nature. Aham vijanami. I know everything. Na cha asti. There is no one. So that has to be connected to aham vijanami. I know everything, but na cha asti. There is no person. Vetta mama, who knows me. So that understanding is to be taken very clearly. Aham vijanami, I know everything. But nacha asti, so you have to supply there. Nobody, the person has to be supplied there. There is no person, there is nobody. Mama vetti, mama vetta, who knows me. And what am I? Aham sada chit. Aham sada chit. I am the ever pure consciousness. Sada chit. I am ever pure consciousness. So Brahmaji is now discussing how this student who has completed Shravanam and understood the teaching, understood the Mahavakyas, what should he do further? He should do Nididhyasana sadhana. And for Nididhyasanam to work, Shravanam has to be over, which means knowledge has to be received. What is that knowledge? Aham Brahma Asmi. That knowledge has to be received. And not only received, Mananam should have been over, which means that knowledge should be doubt-free. So it should not be mere brainwashing. It should not be a conditioning of the mind through brainwashing. I should have analyzed and I should be convinced of the fact of the teaching that I am Brahman. So the purpose of Vedanta, remember the purpose of Vedanta is very clear. You cannot change the external world. You cannot even change your body. You cannot even change your mind. That is not the purpose of Vedanta. There is only one purpose of Vedanta. It is to clearly understand that your true nature is Brahman. And therefore get rid of my conditioning, my mental conditioning, that I am this miserable body-mind complex, which is limited to 5 feet by 6 feet, whatever. So I have to revise my self-image. And therefore I should look at myself as Brahman, not only as Brahman, but also ensure that all my thoughts, all my thinking processes in my day-to-day life, they all are in harmony with this very fundamental thought, Aham Brahma Asmi. which involves what? It involves a complete revision, a complete overhaul of what I thought about myself. And therefore, I revise my opinion about myself, which should also bring about a revision in my opinion regarding the world, regarding the events of the world, even regarding my own family. If this corresponding change does not take place, then it will be like most people. There will be aham brahmasmi vritti during Vedanta class. The moment you step out of class and put back your chappals, aham brahmasmi would have gone, and aham jiva asmi would be there. So during transactions, aham jiva will be there. During Vedanta class, aham brahma will be there. And in spite of the aham brahmasmi knowledge, I will not be free of samsara. And it is to address this problem that nididhyasanam is very, very important. This means that whenever I hear from the teacher the description of Brahman, of course from the Shruti, in my mind, it should be that is my description. The Upanishad description of Brahman should convert itself in my mind to the description of myself. And then this mantra talks about my nature, the nature of Atma, my nature, from two different angles. One is Atma with a Upadi, Saupadika Atma, and one is Atma without Upadi, Nirupadika Atma. So Saguna Atma and Nirguna Atma both are talked about. So when I look at the mirror, I see my face in the mirror. The mirror is the RM, the reflecting medium. It is the Upadi. So the face which I see in the mirror, which I call me, that is a Saupadika face. A face, my original face, seen through the distortion of a mirror, which is the Upadi. My actual face is Nirupadika face. But when I see it in the mirror, it is a Saupadika face. Thus, in Vyavaharika, in the transactional world, we have Saguna Atma, Saupadika Atma. That Saupadika Atma is the Vyavaharika. And that Saupadika Atma is who? I alone. I am obtaining, I am there in the medium of the manifestation, which is the reflecting medium. But my real me, I am the Nirupadika Atma, the Nirguna Atma. So the nature of these two are different. Obviously, that is why we call one Nirguna and one Saguna. And here he says, therefore, Aham Apani Apadaha. I am that Atma without hands and without legs. Achakshuhu. I have no eyes. As OC, I have no indriyas at all. But Pashyami. But I can see. When can I see? When the eyes in the reflecting medium are there, when I manifest myself through the RM, then I can see. Similarly, when he says Akarnaha, this is from Paramartha viewpoint, Paramarthika Drishti, where he says that I, as OC, I have no ears. But Aham Shrunomi, I can hear when in Vyavaharika Drishti, when there is a RM present which has got ears. Similarly, Aham Vijanami. As a OC, I cannot know anything. I am not a Pramata at all. But I become the knower when I am manifesting through the body, the RC. So, Vyavaharika Drishtya, from the point of view of the relational world, transactional world, I am Pramata. From the Paramarthika Drishti, from the absolute viewpoint, I am OC, I am not the Pramata at all. And Vivikta Rupaha, I know everything. I am the knower in many, many forms because there are so many RMs. However, mama vetta na asti cha. I can never be known by anybody. And that has to be very, very carefully understood. I can never be known by anybody means what? When I can never be known by anybody means what?
Means there is no other to know me. So for knowing, there needs to be a duality. There is no pramata, prameya.
That is one interpretation. It also means I am aprameya. I can never be the object of any pramanam. That is why we say that even Vedanta, does it make the Atma known to us? No. Vedanta's purpose is not to reveal Brahman. Why is it necessary? Why do we say that Vedanta's purpose is not to reveal Brahman? Then how is Brahman to be revealed? If Vedanta cannot show us what is Atma, what is the point of Vedanta?
The purpose is for us to know that what is our true nature. We are Brahman ourselves. Not I, the body, but Brahman alone exists.
But how would you
And-
know that Brahman exists?
Brahman is self-evident,
Brahman is
but
self-evident.
coverings are there, and Vedanta's purpose is only to remove the coverings.
See, what is the proof or what is the manifestation of existence or consciousness?
I am.
I am, right? If I ask you, are you there, June? You won't have to look around and say, am I there? Will you have to? No, it is self-evident because consciousness is the I thought. If the I thought is there, then you are there. And I thought is there when? All the time, because Brahman or Atma is self-evident. Atma is self-revealing. In fact, all the Pramana, even the Shruti that you read, even the Veda that you read, this Upanishad that we are studying, it is possible for you to study only because of consciousness, because you are conscious. That ever-existing consciousness principle, I, it need not be revealed by anybody. That is why it's called self-existing or self-revealing. When you open your eyes, you know that you are conscious. So the consciousness is self-revealing. And therefore, Vedanta's purpose is not to reveal consciousness. Vedanta's purpose is to tell you that consciousness, which is Atma, that is your real nature. Because you tend to think, because of eons of conditioning, what do we think? We think that we are the body-mind complex. Vedanta's purpose is to tell you that no, you are not the body-mind complex. You are actually that Atma, that consciousness, which is self-evident all the time. And that's why he says, Aham Sadachit. I am pure consciousness alone. What is the proof? Every experience which you have, from opening your eyes, from brushing your teeth, from talking to somebody, from sipping your morning coffee, every experience that you have, that is the proof of consciousness being present. That is a proof of Atma being present. So now we look at mantra number 22. We will chant. Vedairna ekairahameva vedyaha.
Vedairanaekairahameva
Vedairanaekairahameva
vedyaha.
Vedanta krit veda videva chaham.
Vedanta
Vedanta
videva
Charam.
Na punya pape mama nasti nashaha.
Na
punya
punya
pape
pape
mama
mama
nasti
nasti
nashaha.
Na janma dehendriya buddhirasti.
न
जन्मदेहे बुद्धिरस्ति
जन्मदेहेन्द्रियस्ति
न भूमिरापो न च वह्निरस्ति
न भूमिरापो न
वह्निरस्ति
अस्ति
न चानिलो मे अस्ति न चाम्बरं च
न चानिलो मे
चाम्बरं च
all very, very beautiful verses. And ideally, you should have this whole Upanishad committed to memory because it's all Nididhyasanam alone. So, Vedaihi, Aneka Vedaihi, if you break it up properly, Aham Eva, Vedaihi, Aneka Vedaihi. Aham Eva, Vedyaha, Aneka Vedaihi. So, Vedyaha, that which is to be known. Vedya is that which should be known. Who is that? Ahameva. I alone am that which is to be known. So Ahameva Vedyaha. I alone am that subject or object which is to be known. Aneka Vedaihi, through all the Vedas. That is the first statement. Then Vedanta Krit. I am the author of the Vedas. I am the originator of the Vedas. Ahamevacha, Vedanta Krit, Ahamevacha. I alone am the author of the Vedas. And again, Ahameva Vedavit. I alone am the knower of the Vedas. And Punya Pape na mama. Papam and Punyam do not belong to me. Nashaha na asti. There is no death for me. Janma, Deha, Indriya, Buddhihi na asti. Janmana asti. I have no birth. Deha na asti. I have no body. Indriya na asti. I have no intellect. Buddhihi, I have no sense organs. Buddhihi na asti. I have no intellect. So this Janma, Deha, Indriya and Buddhihi, they do not belong to me. Then Bhumi cha apaha, earth and water, na, they do not belong to me. Na asti, they do not belong to me. Vahanni cha na asti, nor does fire belong to me. Anilam cha na asti, nor does air belong to me. Ambaram cha na asti, space also does not belong to me. So again, the idea that I talked about before, Sarvatma Bhava, that I am there in everything. I alone am manifesting as everything is being mentioned. And here he is classifying the Jagat, the universe, into Pramata, the knower, Prameyam, the known, and Pramanam, the instrument of knowledge, the tool of knowledge. So this is the Triputi. The triad, Pramata, Pramanam, Prameyam. And he says this classification belongs to the transactional world, to Vyavaharika Satyam alone. For me, who am the Paramarthika Satyam, there is no connection at all with this classification. Who am I? Ahameva Vedyaha. I am the one to be known, which is the Prameyam, right? When I said classified into three, that's what I mean. Aham eva Vedyaha. I am the one to be known, which means I am the Prameyam. How should I be known? Aneka Vedaihi. Through all the Vedas, I am the that is through any Pramanam, I am the one to be known. And who is the knower? Aham Vedavit. I am the knower too. So I am the author of the Vedas when I am in the role of Lord Brahmaji, when I'm in the role of Easwara, I am the author of the Vedas. I am Vedavit. I am the knower of the Vedas when I play the role of Jiva. So as Paramatma, I am the author of the Vedas. As Jivatma, I am the Shishya, the student of the Vedas. And very interestingly, as Brahman, what am I?
I'm the essence of the Vedas.
I am the very content of the Vedas. So as Ishvara, as Paramatma, I am the author of the Vedas. As Jivatma, I am the student of the Vedas. As Brahman, I am the content of the Vedas. As the Acharya, I am the teacher of the Vedas. Whichever way you look at it, author, teacher, student, content, it is Ahameva, I alone. And the Vedakrit here can also be taken as the teacher, because Shastram can become Pramanam only when handled by the teacher. And we said somewhere else, the teacher has to be Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guruhu. If you pick up a book of the Upanishads and read it, it will not convey what should be conveyed. So I am the Pramanam, I am the Acharya, I am the student, I am everything. This is from the Vyavaharika angle, from the transactional angle, the transactional world angle. And from my own nature, from OC, Paramarthika angle, what am I? Na punya pape mamaha. Punyam and papam do not belong to me. Nashaha, death does not belong to me because there is no birth. And when there is no birth, what to talk about rebirth? So there is no death, there is no birth. Obviously, there can be no punarjanma also, because rebirth is caused by papam and punyam. Therefore, na punya pape mamaha. Punyam papam does not belong to me. Where is the question of my rebirth? When birth itself is not there, why talk about rebirth? What about Brahman? Brahman can we negate is the question. You cannot negate Brahman because the entire universe is mithya. And no mithya vastu can exist without the substratum, the adhishthanam, the satyam. So if the duality, the mithya vastu has borrowed existence, it must have borrowed from somebody. If a dream is possible because of the waker, but the waker is not one of the players in the dream, the waker lends existence to the dream world and to the dreamer. But he is not one of the players, one of the entities of that dream world. Similarly, I, Brahman, am the substratum of the whole world, but I am not one of the entities. You can say the world exists in me, but I don't exist in the world, as Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita. In fact, while meditating, we can meditate upon the fact that even space and time are located in me alone. It is worthwhile remembering this, because when the problems of Vyavaharika, the transactional world, sometimes they seem overwhelming, right? The awareness that this is all part of a lower level of reality, something like a cosmic dream. If we can remember that, this can reduce the fury of those problems. So only mithyatva darshanam can reduce the impact of certain problems. Where there are choices to be made, we can try to solve the problems. But there are choiceless problems also, like old age, disease, death. The only remedy that we can have for such problems is to see the mithyatvam in these problems, to see that they are dependent entities, dependent upon me alone. I can see mithyatvam in the world only when I change my opinion about myself that I am a jiva. As long as I am a jiva, I am part of the mithya setup. I can never see the mithyatvam in the world. But once I accept that I am Brahman, I know I am the Satyam which is not affected by any of the mithya entities. The mithya problems do not touch me. That is why Nididhyasanam is so important. And when should I practice Nididhyasanam? Practice it daily. Hopefully, our prarabdha is favorable right now. So you should practice nididhyasana daily when the prarabdha is favorable. So that when the prarabdha turns unfavorable, as it will sooner or later, this nididhyasana will come in handy. It's like exercising. You should exercise when you are healthy, so that during times of illness, that robustness which you have built up through daily exercise, that will help you mitigate the effect of the illness. The similar thing with nididhyasana. And therefore, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Since I do not have any punyam and papam at all, I have neither birth, nor body, nor sense organs, nor intellect. And all this, remember, is from the level of the micro, the Vyashti. And when he comes and says later, Brahmaji says, Bhumi cha apaha, earth and water, he moves out to Samashti, the macro level. He says the earth does not belong to me, water does not belong to me, fire does not belong to me, air does not belong to me, even space does not belong to me. Whenever he is saying does not belong to me, remember what is this me? This me is Satyam. And therefore, when I say something does not belong to me, the Satyam, the Paramarthika level of reality, I am saying that these things which do not belong to me, they are not Paramarthika. They are Vyavaharika Satyam. They are Mithya. They belong to a lower level of reality. Right? From the viewpoint of the RC, from the viewpoint of the reflected consciousness, from the Vyavaharika viewpoint, remember all these exist and are very tangible. Just like when you are having a dream, the dream tiger is very substantial and he is chasing you. But when you wake up, from the waker's point of view, that dream tiger is inconsequential. Similarly, from the RC's point of view, all Mithya is got a lot of problems. But from the OC's point of view, it is Mithya alone. It doesn't exist at all. Therefore, the Vyavaharika world can be negated, but only from the point of view of the Paramarthika Satyam, not from the point of view of the Vyavaharika Satyam. What is the method of teaching which is being employed here? We have seen before. Adhyaropa Apavada Nyaya. Superimposition and then the negation. And we saw earlier, I'll briefly summarize what that Nyaya is. Supposing I am teaching you about a pot, a clay pot, and I want to teach you that ultimately there is only the clay which is the reality. So I teach in 4 stages. First, I present that clay pot to you and say this is a padhartha, this is a product, a karyam. Then I say, okay, now this is a product. For this product, there is a cause. The karanam is there, and the karanam is nothing but clay. Right? This presenting the pot and introducing the karanam as clay, this constitutes adhyaropa stage. Then I point out that if the clay is the material from which the pot is made, so in Vedantic terms, if the clay is upadana karanam, then on analysis you will find that there is only clay and there is no substance called pot. The only substance is clay alone. I am therefore negating the pot as a substance, which means what? The pot, the substantiality of the pot has been eliminated. I have reduced that pot to a concept, to a mere word, not backed by a substance. So we have clay, which is a substance. But for the word pot, there is no corresponding substance. There is only a form and a name. The 3rd stage. Once the pot is negated, the understanding is that the only vastu is clay and there is no pot. What is the conclusion? Since there is only clay and no pot, there can be no karana karya connection. There can be no cause and effect relationship, because any sambandha, any relationship requires more than one, but there is only clay here and there is no karyam at all. When the product is negated, clay loses its status as a cause, as a karanam. And what is left behind is karya, karana, vilakshana, clay. Clay which is neither the cause nor the product. And therefore, the vision is now that there was clay alone in the past. There is clay alone now also. And there will be clay alone in the future also. Somewhere in the middle, we got caught up in a play of words with a word called pot. This third and fourth stage, if you put together, it is the apavada stage. Now let us apply that to the universe. Stage 1. Shruti, the Upanishad, introduces Jagat, the universe, as Karyam. Stage 2. Shruti introduces Brahman as Srishti Karanam. This is called Adhyaropa Prakriya. Stage 3. If Brahman is the Karanam and world is the Karyam, then we say that there is no Karyam other than Brahman. There is no substance called world. And whenever I touch the world, I am touching Brahman alone. And therefore, there is nothing called the world. Therefore, since the fourth stage is that since I have negated the world as a product, there is nothing called the world. So the world has been negated. And therefore, since there is no product, Brahman loses the status as the cause. And therefore, Brahman is also Karya, Karana, Vilakshana. So after negating this world, when you come to Brahman, the only difference is do not look for Brahman elsewhere. That Brahman is nobody but yourself. So we'll see these 4 stages in much more detail in one of the Prakarana Granthas, which we will do sooner or later. It's called Aparoksha Anubhuti. When we do that, these 4 stages have been presented by Shankaracharya in a much more detailed manner. So with this 22nd mantra, the teaching is over. Now we talk about Phalam. So we look at mantra number 23. We will read.
Acharya, I'm so sorry I'm interrupting. I have a question.
Yeah.
It's been there since the last shlok actually.
Okay.
You said that what is consciousness? Consciousness is the I thought.
Yes.
I thought is I vritti.
I am vritti. Yes.
Vritti, but it's a vritti.
Yes.
With the consciousness is, it is antahkaran which has vritti. It's the individual that has vritti.
Correct.
At the Vyavaharika stage.
Correct.
So how can consciousness be I vritti? Consciousness just is.
The Sakshi is the I vritti. The one which has the thought that I am. Right.
So we're essentially talking, because when we say I, that is the aham vritti.
Aham vritti.
Which is ahankara.
Which is the manifestation of consciousness in a human body, in a human mind.
Right, but it is not really the manifestation of consciousness. It is not consciousness. So when we even the term reflected consciousness, actually, it's English language and the weakness of it really.
It is the Pratibimba Chaitanyam. It is only through the Pratibimba Chaitanyam that you can even conceive of the original Chaitanyam, because original Chaitanyam is otherwise inaccessible to you because you are that.
So see, from the Paramaharthika point of view, there is only that consciousness, nothing else.
Nothing else, not even thought.
Yeah, when we talk about RC, RM, etc., it's not even that consciousness is being reflected. It is actually that the mind, all the other instruments are being enabled or taking on life from there, so to speak.
Yeah, consciousness is what lends life to the
Yeah.
inert mind, antakaranam,
Yeah.
which is what we call the jiva.
Right.
Remember, this teaching prakriya is in the land of the jiva. There is no
course.
teaching prakriya in paramarthika.
Of
Paramarthika.
course. There's nothing there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So the only thing we have to learn is that this RC, which I am, enables me to understand that I am the OC. I myself am mithya. Accepting
No.
as OC, I am mithya.
Yeah. No. So that specific term, that consciousness is the I vritti, it's not necessary. It's not really.
It's not pure consciousness.
Accurate.
It is manifested consciousness. Pure consciousness you cannot talk about. That is why they say no words can ever reach there. That is because it is you. The original consciousness is you. Since you have no mouth, you cannot talk about it. Since you have no ears, you cannot hear about it. These transactions are possible only in Vyavaharika when you have a ear and an eye, which is through a body. The moment you say body, you are talking about RC. It is only RC who can teach. It is only RC who can learn.
Yeah.
And you are learning about the OC. That
Yeah.
original consciousness is beyond description. But for our limited purposes, when we say I, it is the reflected consciousness in the mind. This incidentally is the toughest point. I have come out with very nicely. This is the toughest point to understand in Vedanta. The day you assimilate this and the question stops.
Yeah.
That I am, who is this I? When the question stops, then you are there.
There was one more thing it's completely skipped my mind right now. If that comes up, I'm going to ask you again. Sorry, thank you.
Surely. Okay.
I think
now,
Acharya, in the terms used in Vedanta Sara that you talked about last, they very well describe this anupahitam chaitanyam.
Correct.
And ajnana upahitam chaitanyam, you know. Yeah.
Yes. So Chaitanyam, which is got no upadhis at all, that is consciousness, the pure consciousness. But that consciousness is not accessible. It cannot be talked about. It cannot talk also. Okay. So mantra number 23. Let us try to complete today. May not be possible, but let us try to complete if it's okay with you all. Evam viditva paramatma rupam. Uhashayam nishkalam advitiyam. Samasta sakshim sad asad vihinam. Prayati shuddham paramatma rupam. So evam viditva, having known in this manner, very important, having known in this manner, in which manner? That I am Brahman. And what should you know? Paramatma rupam, the nature of the Paramatma. Where is that Paramatma? Guhashayam, residing in the Guha, which is your heart. Nishkalam, that Paramatma is Nishkalam, has no divisions. That Paramatma is Advitiyam, it is non-dual. That Paramatma is Samasta Shakshihi, witness of everything. That Paramatma is Sad, Asad, Vihinam. So here Sad is cause, Asad is effect, Karana Karyam. So which is without Karanam or without Karyam, which is Shuddham, which is pure. Prayati Paramatma Rupam. One attains the nature of the Paramatma. It simply means that if you know the Paramatma in this manner, then that is the equivalent of your having attained the nature of Paramatma. Becoming Brahman is knowing Brahman. That is what they say. This is what it means. So, evam Paramatma Rupam Viditva. In this manner, which manner? Using the Adhyaropa Apavada Prakriya, which we talked about. superimposition negation methodology. Using that, absorbing this Atmajnanam through the process of Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam, one has to get to know your true nature. And this Paramatma is where Guha Shayam, in the minds of everybody. Shayam means residing, not in the form of a thought. That's very important to understand that. It is not a vritti in the mind, but it is in the form of the sakshi, which witnesses the absence or presence of vrittis. So that is a bit important to understand. When I say it's in my mind, normally when I say somebody is in my mind, let us say you say that your boyfriend or girlfriend is in your mind, you are having that thought in your mind. But here it is not that. Here it is the very principle, the witness principle, the sakshi, because of which you are aware of the presence of thoughts or even the absence of thoughts in Sushupti Avastha. That is Guhashayam. Nishkalam, indivisible. Advitiyam, non-dual. Samasta Sakshim, witness of everything. Sat, Asad, Vihinam, not having an effect or not having a cause. Karana, Karya, Vilakshanam. So, it means here, Maya is Karanam, Prapancha is Karyam. I am beyond the Maya Prapancha also. I am beyond the very universe itself. And therefore Shuddham, I am pure. Shuddham means pure, free from what? Free from Maya and free from the three universes. Because why? Because we are all Mithya. Therefore, I am absolutely pure. There is no second thing to contaminate me, since Maya and Mithya are me alone, manifestations of me alone. Therefore, there is nothing else to make me impure. And when I understand it in this manner, Prayati Paramatma Rupam, one attains the nature of the Paramatma, knowing that I am the Paramatma, not the Jivatma. By knowing this Paramatma, one has become the Paramatma. And you should remember the Mundaka Upanishad quotation over here. What is that you should remember?
Brahmavid Brahma Bhavati.
Brahmavid Brahmeva Bhavati. The one who understands Brahman in this manner, he himself is Brahman only. There is no question of any merger, because really speaking, there has been no separation at all. And now, mantra number 24 we will read. Yashat Rudriyam Adhite Swagniputo Bhavati
Bhavati.
Surapana Puto Bhavati
Surapanat Puto Bhavati.
Brahmahatyat Puto Bhavati
Brahmahatyaya Puto Bhavati.
Krityat Puto Bhavati
Krityat Puto Bhavati.
Tasma Vimuktamasrito Bhavati
Tasmat Vimuktamasrito Bhavati.
Atyashrami Sarvada Sakrida Japet.
Atyashrami Sarvada Sakrita Japet.
So Saha Yaha, the one who Adhite. Adhite means recites. What does he recite? Shatrudriyam, Sri Rudram. He recites Agni Puto Bhavati, becomes purified by Agni, becomes purified by the sacred fire. And what is the result of that purification? Surapanat Puto Bhavati. Surapanam is drinking. So drinking is considered to be a sin in the Vedas. And therefore, this person who is reciting the Shatrudriyam every day, he becomes free of the sin of drinking. Brahma Hatyat Puto Bhavati. Even if he kills a Brahmin, he is free from that sin. Puta Kritya Akritya Bhavati. He is free from Kritya, sins of omission, akritya, sense of commission. Tasmat, thereafter, bhavati asritaha, he comes under the ashraya, under the shelter of whom? Avimuktam. Who is Avimuktam? Avimuktam, Avimukteshwara. Meda?
Mukta?
Where is Meda? Meda should know. Meda, are you there?
No, I'm not getting
You went there just now.
Kashi?
Huh?
Are you talking about Kashi?
Yeah, you went there. Okay, so Avimuktam is Lord Shiva. Atyashrami is sannyasi. Japet means he should recite what? Sri Rudram. Sarvada is all the time. Sakrid means at least once a day. So he is saying that, or Brahmaji is saying that, supposing there are some Shishyas who are not ready and are not able to understand this teaching, right? After all, legation of Jagan Mithya is not very easy to do. And supposing the person is not ready for this, therefore the teaching cannot be understood because there is an obstruction in the mind. He is not ready. Chitta Shuddhi is not there. The defect is not in the teaching. The teaching has blessed so many others. So we cannot say there is defect in the teaching. Therefore, this person, what does he have to do? He has to go back to Karma Kanda and work on Chitta Shuddhi. So it's an indication. If Jnana Kanda does not work on us, it means we are not ready. We have to go back to Karma Kanda, pick up the religious life, take to any yajna and purify the mind. So here he says, Veda Yajna, Veda Adhyanam. Recitation of the Vedas or the Bhagavad Gita is recommended usually, but here he says, take up Sri Rudram as Parayanam. Because in the Dhyana part of Sri Rudram, Lord Shiva is the Ishta Devata. So Rudram glorifies Lord Shiva as what? As Vishwa Rupa Ishvara. Of course, he mentions Sri Rudram here. It does not mean that we should recite only Sri Rudram. You can do any Parayanam. Sri Rudram is only indicative over here. So any Parayanam will give you Chitta Shuddhi. So he says, Yaha Shat Rudriyam Adhite. This Parayanam of Sri Rudram is part of Karma Yoga and Upasana to purify the mind. Whether you understand the meaning of this Sri Rudram or not, daily Parayanam will bless you. Of course, if you know the meaning, it is much better. So although mechanical Parayanam also will give Punyam, Parayanam with knowledge will give more Punyam. And for one who does this Parayanam, all Papam is destroyed. A list is given over here. Saha Agni Puto Bhavati, he is purified by the sacred fire. So, you know that for Hindus, fire is sacred. Agnihotram is a fundamental duty for us to be done by every grahastha. Which is why we always light a lamp in the morning. A lamp plays a very important part in our lives. Lamp means knowledge. And omission of this lighting the lamp is a fundamental papam. That is why, incidentally, the lamp flame is so secret, it's so sacred, because it is to be respected as Agni Devata. And therefore, we don't ever blow out the lamp. Have you seen a traditional person? He will never use his mouth to blow out the lamp. How does he blow out the lamp? He waves at it, or takes a piece of paper, or puts his hand on it, or puts something else on it. Why is that so? Why can't you just blow out the lamp?
There is the concept of uchishtam, from the mouth, you know, that contamination going.
Contamination from the mouth, the spit from the mouth should not touch the Agni Devata. It's an insult to him, right? So therefore, you use some instrument or use a small little vessel, something you put over the Agni and put it out. You never blow it out. Then second one, Surapanat Putaha Bhavati. Shastra says you should not even smell the liquor, okay? Forget consuming. You're not even supposed to smell liquor. Anyway, so if you have smelled liquor or you have consumed it, chanting the Sri Rudram will remove that papam. So it's a prayaschitta karma to counteract the papams of our previous acts. And Brahma Hatyat Putaha Bhavati. So Brahma Hatya means killing a Brahmin. A Brahmin is supposed to be a very cultured person following the Vedas. And there is something called Pancha Mahapapakam, the 5 great papas, sins. One of them is considered to be killing a Brahmana. So that's also neutralized. And Kritya Akritya Puto Bhavati. Kritya Akaranam means not doing duties mandated by the Vedas. Akritya Karanam means doing what has been prohibited by the Vedas. Both these create papam, and Rudra Parayanam frees one from both these papams. And therefore, Tasmat Avimuktam Ashrita Bhavati. So, Avimuktam. That's why I said Lord Shiva in Kashi, the Kashi Vishwanatha is called Avimukteshwara. Now, it's an interesting derivation. Vimuktaha actually means Pashu, animal. Vimuktaha is a Pashu, animal. Normally you'll say Vimuktaha means a free person, right? But here Vimuktaha is referred to as animal. Why? Because animals are free from rules, from regulations. They don't have to follow the Vedas. So no rules are followed by the animals, and therefore Avimuktaha. The one who controls the animal is what? Pashupatihi. And therefore Avimukteshwaraha is the lord of the animals. Pashupatihi is called Avimukteshwaraha. And therefore by doing Rudra Parayanam, you can come under the protection of Lord Shiva, who is called Avimuktaha. That is why Kashi Vishwanath temple has also got another name, Avimukteshwara Kshetram, the temple belonging to Avimukteshwara. And then he gives the final piece of advice. He says, Atyashrami Sarvada Sakrit Vajapet. Atyashrami is somebody who is Ati Ashrami. Ati Ashrami means what? Beyond the ashramas. Beyond the 4 ashramas. Who is beyond the 4 ashramas? The one who has dropped all the ashramas. So sannyasi. Atyashrami means sannyasi. And what is his problem? This sannyasi cannot perform any rituals. He cannot do Panchamahayagnya. He cannot do all those things. Why? Because he has renounced the sacred thread. And therefore he cannot perform Agnihotram. He cannot perform any Panchamahayagnya. So for him, for the sannyasi, Rudra Parayanam is considered to be the ideal sadhana for mental purification. So if by chance one does not fully meet all these qualifications to understand the Veda, I'm not saying you guys won't, okay? I'm sure all of you are Chitta Shuddhi, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna. So it doesn't apply to you, but maybe some student of yours doesn't understand. What should he do? He should chant Rudram all the life throughout the day. And here he is saying Atyashrami because if a Grahastha doesn't understand the Veda, there is no problem, right? He can go back to Grahastha life and he can start doing homams and he can start doing Agnihotrams, all these things. But Atyashrami, he has renounced his sacred thread. And therefore, there is no way of going back to becoming a Grahastha. For the Atyashrami, he should chant Rudra Parayanam regularly. Because going back to Grahastha life is not an option. So he says either daily or Sakrit. If regularly he cannot do, Sakrit means at least once a day. So this sannyasi should chant this particular Parayanam, Rudra Parayanam, at least once a day. I will take 5 more minutes. We'll just complete this. So the mantra number 25, we will chant. Anena jnanamapnoti
Anena jnanamapnoti
sansara arnavanashanam
samsara
tasmad evam viditvainam
tasmad evam
Kaivalyam phalamashnute. Kaivalyam phalamashnute. Kaivalyam phalamashnuta iti. So anena, by this, by what? By the chanting of the Rudra Parayanam, apnoti jnanam, one gets atma jnanam, which is what? Samsara arnava nashanam, which is destroyer of the ocean of samsara. Tasmat, therefore, evam viditva, having understood, evam viditva enam, having understood this atma in this manner, Kaivalyam phalam ashnute, one attains the fruit of Kaivalyam, which is moksha. Ashnute phalam Kaivalyam iti, one indeed attains the fruit of Kaivalyam definitely. So this second repetition, the repetition of that last phrase simply indicates that it is the ending of the Upanishad. There were no full stops in those days, right? It was all chanting. So the second time it was chanted means the Upanishad is over. So here again, as I said, Rudra Parayanam can represent any Parayanam, Panchamaha Yajna, Karma Yoga, anything. So Anena Jnanam Apnoti, through this daily Parayanam, the same Vedantic teaching which I could not understand, it now begins to make sense to me. It builds up my self-confidence, and the path of Jnanam appears to be now accessible. So it must be noted again, I'm saying it is not just Rudra Parayanam, it can be Vishnu Sahasranamam, it can be Lalita Sahasranamam, it can be routine puja or japa, anything. In summary, by doing regular Karma Yoga or Upasana Yoga, the mind will get qualified for the pursuit of Jnanam, and that Jnanam will enable me to transfer from the triangular format to the binary format. So samsara arnava nashnam. This jnanam is the destroyer of the ocean of samsara. Tasmat enam evam viditva. Because of that, because the fact that the jnanam will destroy samsara, you should know Brahman in this manner. Which manner? As I am Brahman. If you just know that there is Brahman, your knowledge is not complete. It is very, very important for us to understand that there is a Brahman, yes. But that Brahman I am, that second stage only completes my knowledge. And if I do that, Kaivalyam phalam ashnute, I will get Kaivalyam. And Kaivalyam comes from the word Kevala, which means no one else, only. There is no second. And therefore, Advaita Bhavaha is Kaivalyam, the same as Moksha. He attains Jivan Mukti in this life, and when the body is gone, he attains the Deha Mukti. And this particular Upanishad is called Kaivalyopanishad because of the word Kaivalyam in this last line. Iti Kaivalyopanishad Samaptam. Any questions?
Acharya, there are many and many mantras which are in other Upanishads or in the Bhagavad Gita also. From here.
Yeah. Man, this is a very, very famous Upanishad, not commented upon by Shankaracharya, but a very famous Upanishad.
Ramiji.
Yes, Natarji.
Hi. Much earlier, you were using the analogy of the clay pot and the substance and the form.
Yeah.
What we didn't consider was because there's a material form and there's the instrumental cause and material cause. So you didn't mention the instrumental cause. I mean, to make the pot, there was a potter.
Yes.
How do we bring that into the analogy?
We have to take the case of the spider. The spider creates the pot, creates the web out of his own body. So he is both the created and the creator. That is the Shastric example. Just as the spider creates the web without the use of any other agency,
Yeah.
Ishvara creates the world from himself without the use of any other agency. That is why we say the world is his own body, Maya.
Right. Okay. But we also we call Maya is the creator of this illusion, right?
Correct.
And itself
Maya
is a.
The thing here is, Natarajji, that Maya is not different from Brahman. It is only a name and form. That is why we use the gold chain example.
Right.
Because there is no gold, there is no chain which is separate from the gold. So that is the example used for Maya and the world. That is the Upadana Karan, the material cause. Where it is the efficient cause, then we say that the consciousness principle is joined there, and therefore it is the efficient cause. But Maya itself is the creator because of the consciousness principle.
As per the spider in the web. Okay.
As per the spider in the web.
Okay. Thank you.
So with this, we'll stop. And thank you very much for your patience. We will try to start the Kaivalopanishad after 1 week's break, because for one thing, I won't be available next Saturday and Sunday because there's something going on at the ashram. I will send out the text. I suggest that you look at it. Saturday after that, we will start off with the Kaivalopanishad. If anything changes, then I will let you know.
Thank you.
Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Acharya. Thank you.